Hello there. Thanks for listening in. I want to talk about grace tonight. Okay, grace. Let's start with reading out of one of my favorite passages of Scripture, one of the ones that I first memorized, and it is from Ephesians 2, 8, and 9. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is a gift of God, not as a result of works, so that no one may boast. What is grace? When I look at that passage of Scripture, I'm reminded that it is not what I have done, but it is what Christ has done for me. I didn't save myself. He did that on the cross. Here's one of those definitions of grace, and it's taken from the Erdmans. God's unmerited favor toward humanity, especially His people, realized through the covenant and fulfilled through Jesus Christ. And later on, it uses this so you and I can understand this a little bit, even leave a little bit more deeper. Grace fills the Psalms, which confess that God's hesed is a word for grace, endures forever, and it references Psalm 136. For His mercy or His grace endures forever, His love endures forever, depending on what version you're reading out of, the idea of hesed there. And that's a passage where it talks about a psalm that talks about God in the creation, God bringing the sun and moon into place, and then it talks about the deliverance that God's people experience in the Exodus experience, the Old Testament version of salvation, so we can understand what salvation is, to deliver us from bondage, and theirs from the bondage of Egypt, ours from the bondage of sin. Who can experience God's grace? Who can experience God's grace? Is it offered to everyone? Is it offered to everyone? That's a hard question. You know, I think of how does that play out? How does God's grace play out in our world? How does God's grace play out in the Scripture? Who does God extend His grace to? And so, this upcoming Sunday, I'd encourage you to enjoy, because that's what we're going to look at, God's grace to an unlikely candidate. Right? God's grace to an unlikely candidate. Why did God extend grace? And what was the intention of extending grace, particularly to this person? Because I am thankful God extended His grace to me in His Son, Jesus Christ. I accepted His grace. And because of that acceptance of the grace, I have salvation. Not because of what I've done, but because of what God has done for me. See you Sunday.